Buenos días, buenas tardes, y buenas noches, bonjour, bonsoir, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be. Jay Slater case, and it is Wednesday, August 19th. And chosen picture of the day, the rose between two thorns here. We have the double image of El Slugtardo on his boat, on a boat, his boat, probably his boat, a boat, somewhere. And I took this from DJ Ravers. DJ Ravers never gets it wrong, rarely gets it wrong. And the caption DJ Ravers had was Luggy on his boat on the Sunday before Jay Slater's body was found on the Monday. And I believe that's true. I believe that Luggy has said he was on his boat all day on that Sunday. And I wanted to investigate that because this is part five, part six, part seven of the Saturday, Sunday, Monday investigation, if you like, that has kind of stalled because other things have cropped up. I want to return to it and I want to say a few words on the Sunday, well, on the Monday, and I want to say a few words on the Saturday. Basically, if you've missed the first six parts, I was wading through Saturday and hour by hour, if you like, dismissing what I think was rumor and claptrap about the Saturday. I mean, it's just my conclusion, but there we go. I don't think anything happened on the Saturday. I think the expat guy that was talking about having had a conversation with someone from Coast Guard surveillance. I'm not saying the expat guy was lying. I just think he might have been acting a little bit too rashly on rumor and hearsay. Especially when he started talking about Masca. He's never been there, but he was telling us all about how only residents were allowed to drive up that road. I think he got that wrong, and I think he's unreliable. Was my conclusion on that. I think the key for Saturday was that no one saw any helicopters going in anywhere. Oh, apart from Luggy, who wasn't there. So we got someone in Wales saying that someone he knows was in Los Gigantes Harbour, and they said, "Oh, there are choppers going in," and we're supposed to take that to mean everyone on Tenerife saw choppers going in on the Saturday. I don't think so. Now, if there is anyone that was on Tenerife on that Saturday, it would be the Saturday, July 13th, 2024, and they did see helicopters conspicuously flying into the Juan Lopez ravine, then please stand up. But it seems here we are in year three that only one, El Slugtardo, and this anonymous person who said, "Oh yeah, the choppers are going in, Luggy. I can see them, can't you?" It does seem that no one else saw any choppers flying anywhere on the Saturday, even though Chris and Sluggy have said, "Oh yeah, yeah, the Guardia Civil, we forced their arm. We said unless you send them in now, we're going in tomorrow by boat." No, I don't think there were any choppers flying around on the Saturday. So, because I'm dealing in my mind, I'm dealing with an unreliable expat guy and his rather vague, loose testimony, and this guy here saying, even though he wasn't there, he knows choppers went in on Saturday. Um, and the key evidence for me for Saturday is at the end of his Saturday recce, which I think is the only time Chris Pennington actually went into the man trap and went anywhere. I think it was his only one and only push down a certain distance down the man trap, where he's flaked out. Adrian comes to the rescue, and they both conclude that Jay couldn't have got down that way. I think the clue there is that at the end of that day of recce searching, whatever they were doing, Chris concludes that you know, only in the future, only in the vague and nebulous sometime in the future, if a hiker gets down there and needs rescuing, only then will the Guardia Civil actually send in a chopper and find Jay's body. That was his conclusion on the Saturday. So I'm going by that. I mean, there are always two versions with Chris Pennington. Conclusion number one from Chris Pennington was Jay's body was found on the Saturday. Conclusion number two from CP on the Saturday was, yeah, I did my search, did my recce, and it comes down to this, that Jay's only going to be found when some hiker goes down there at some point in the future. I take that version. That makes more sense to me. So, in my mind, having dismissed Saturday, I'm now stuck with Sunday and Monday. Let me jump forward, seeing as we're talking about choppers and Monday and Sunday and Saturday. Um, there is something that seems on the surface a little strange with helicopters on Monday, but I'm not sure that it is. And that is the Dutch team, Dutch dog team. They were asked quite specifically, Did you hear any helicopters on that Monday when you were, following Jay's scent, when you were going down that track, that path, and then you stopped and you gave the dog some waters, and then you got the message that Jay's body's been found? Did you hear, notice, see any helicopter activity at all? And the answer was no. And that surprised a lot of people because logically, if Jay's body was discovered and retrieved, and pretty much identified, wasn't identified immediately, but if all of that activity happened on the Monday, every minute of it happened on the Monday, then the conclusion logically would be the Dutch team would have heard or saw something. Wouldn't they have seen something? Wouldn't they have heard something? I mean, dogs, they've got that acute sense of smell. They've also got an acute sense of hearing. You would have thought trained dog would have told the master, hey, there's an unusual sound. It's not just the sniff that I got here. It's just, what's this sound? What is the doggy indication for bizarre sound? They cock an ear like that or something like that. They didn't hear anything. Now, on the surface, that is suspicious. It's like, okay, so there was no helicopter on the Monday, which means Jay wasn't found on the Monday. That leaves Sunday. But I'm just wondering if the Dutch dog team started at the Airbnb early morning. They were at the Airbnb at some moment, according to this very shaky testimony of the Dutch gal that doesn't speak English very well. Esther, I think her name is. Esther, I believe, said that the Dutch team started up where the phone pinged. Then they went down to the Airbnb. Again, I need to do a video on this because this whole movement doesn't make a lot of sense. This Dutch team are so unreliable. Why the hell do you start where the ping goes and then you go down to the Airbnb, then you go back up to where Jay went walking down the path? The movements don't make sense, but let's go with what Esther said. So they're at where the phone pinged, no helicopters, got it. Then they go down to the Airbnb. Is it possible there was a helicopter, two helicopters? Let's just say there's one helicopter. Is it possible one helicopter flew along the coast a short way up the Juan Lopez ravine, found the body, dealt with the body, and then flew away, and the Dutch didn't hear it or see it? I think it is. I think it is. It needs a coincidence here. We need the Dutch and their dogs to be at the Airbnb faffing around, and for the helicopter to do its thing at that time. And I do believe if you're at the Airbnb with or without dogs, and you're focused on other stuff, that a helicopter could fly along the coast and a short ways up the Juan Lopez ravine, back out again, and someone at the Masca Airbnb wouldn't notice it. I think that's possible. So keep that in mind. However, is it more likely? I'm thinking it's more likely that the Dutch didn't. None of the dogs detected any helicopter around about on that Monday because there was no helicopter doing anything. I think that's also possible and possibly more likely. But we're in a bit of a grey zone there. So we have to leave Monday as a possibly there was a helicopter. If we go, there's so many rabbit holes you've got to go through, and I'm doing this very superficially, I know, but I want to try to throw out different ideas for Sunday and Monday before digging deeper into both days. So for the Monday, if there is no helicopter doing anything on the Monday, that strongly suggests that the helicopter, meaning the spotting of Jay's body, the retrieval of Jay's body, the documenting of where Jay's body was found, that all happened on the Sunday. This is why I veered towards Sunday, just because Saturday, process of elimination, if I can use CP's favorite phrase there, apart from path of least resistance, process of elimination. I'm not keen on Saturday. And if the Dutch and the Dutch dogs are right, there's no helicopter flying around on the Monday, we're left with Sunday. And then Monday maybe that's the day we'll announce it. And, we don't want to announce it during the Euros final, do we? I don't know. Maybe Monday's just the announcement day and Sunday is the day. I'm not convinced. I'm just saying that's one way of looking at it. So quite possibly the Monday, nothing is found. It all happened on the Sunday. Other things we have to keep in mind. I don't have a picture of it. One of my followers has sent me, at least once, a picture from Millie's Instagram, I think, or Millie's TikTok, where Millie's taken a photograph on the Sunday, it's definitely the Sunday, of helicopters flying in towards the coast in the Juan Lopez Barranco area. And Millie's noted, with curiosity, oh, hello, Guardia Civil helicopter flying along the coast, or flying, towards the ravine. And I believe that's a genuine photo. I can't, like I said, I can't find it. I think Millie's blocked me from her TikTok. Millie, along with many others, needless to say, has blocked me from her TikTok. It seems I can't see it and I can't find it. But I do remember it. I'm sure some of you remember. It's Millie saying, "Oh, hello, helicopters on a Sunday. What does that mean?" Well, the search was called off, so it is unusual. Search is called off. No one is searching apparently, but all of a sudden, Sunday, July 14th, there's a helicopter, Guardia Civil helicopter flying up that coast and down that ravine. It would be a clue to me that they are looking for something because they have been tipped off or they have just found. But I mean, if there's no search going on, they've been tipped off, surely, that the body is there ready to be found. Possibly, possibly. What else would be the point of the helicopter on the Sunday? Now, going back to chosen background of the day, we have this guy here that's on his boat all day Sunday. And in addition to that, Chris and Adrian are not searching anywhere on the Sunday. So why is that? Why all this intense activity on the Saturday and then all of a sudden not doing anything on the Sunday or appearing to not do anything? Chris is like doing nothing, step back, Mr. Anonymous. I'm not involved all of a sudden. And this guy, I'm on a boat all day. Why? Was his explanation something about I didn't want repeated phone calls coming in asking me questions? I wanted to let the professionals give them their space and do their thing. I can't remember the exact explanation. Maybe you can help me out there. Do you remember what El Slugtardo's precise explanation was for making sure he was on a boat all day on a Sunday? Well, let me just be totally conspiratorial here and say, if let's posit the theory. The theory is that this guy and Chris and Adrian and others, maybe, I don't know. Let's just say that they were involved on a Sunday on a boat with getting a body in place, placed somewhere strategically that would very shortly afterwards be found. Then, if you wanted to disassociate yourself from being on a boat on a body dumping mission, what you might want to do is say, well, yeah, I was on a boat. I can't deny that. Of course, I was on a boat. Oh, but the reason I was on a boat is because on that Sunday, I wanted to be on a boat out of reach of a lot of phone calls and messages because they would bother me about my heroic role from the Saturday. I don't know. I guess what I don't quite get is why the stepping back on the Sunday and being on a boat all day. My conspiratorial mind says because this guy knows he was on a boat on the Sunday for some other reason. So he's kept that as his narrative. Yeah, yeah, I was on a boat. I was on a boat. Yeah. Oh, if you've got any evidence of me on a boat on a Sunday, yeah, that's right. I was on a boat. But my purpose for being on the boat was just to be on a boat for that Sunday. It seems odd to me, unless you had a specific purpose in mind for that Sunday being on a boat. And also with Chris, it seems odd to me that we have this intense searching on the Saturday. And then version one, he says, well, I give up. Yeah, Guardia Civil will only come across this body if a hiker gets lost sometime in the future. But Chris also says, oh, no, I don't give up because I got within 500 meters and I told Guardia Civil they have to go in again and find this body on the Sunday. But I'm not going there on the Sunday, even though I got within 500 meters and I can show them the exact route. And I got in the mind of Jay and I can show Guardia Civil, if they accompany me on that Sunday, I can show them exactly where the body is. Just at the last minute, I won't go round the corner and see the bones and the mush. I'll let these guys do it because I can't face that moment. I would have thought that's what Chris would do. Follow me, guys, on the Sunday. I can show you exactly where it is because I found it, and you can take care of it on the Sunday. That makes more sense to me. But Chris saying, well, Sunday, I've done my job on Saturday. I can now do nothing. It just seems strange to me. So we've got two heroic heroes that found Jay Slater's body on the Saturday, on the Sunday saying, we're out of it. We're done. Nothing to see here. We can't help anyone. We're now back to normal. Life goes on. This doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't seem right to me. So what it points to me, is that if, I know it's a big if allegedly, let's put out all the caveats, in my opinion, it seems to me this is what I think could be the case, is that the guys that were involved with any body dumping withdrew from public scrutiny, from being active in this case on the Sunday, precisely because they had to appear that way, because they may well have been seriously involved on the Sunday with the body dump, knowing full well that there's an ITN documentary coming up in a few days' time entitled "The Disappearance." The Was it Jay Slater disappeared or murdered or something, missing or murdered? They knew that was on the horizon. Yeah, they knew the Dutch team were coming, about to find nothing and announce to the world this boy was never here, or find the boy. So I'm thinking Sunday might have been the crunch day. That's what I'm thinking. Chris did his recce on the Saturday, found out on the ground what needed to be done here, and Sunday was the day. Millie saw the helicopter going in. So, again, all theory, all rabbit hole, all conjecture, all speculation. But was Sunday the day when the cleanup crew got into Juan Lopez Beach on a stretcher, four of them maybe, lugged it up the ravine a little bit, lugged it being the opposite, the appropriate word, back to the boat, and then Luggy's, oh, I'm on my boat all day. Chris, I'm at home relaxing all day. Quick call to the Guardia Civil on the Sunday, anonymously. Maybe on one of those, I don't know, satellite yacht phones. Are they anonymous? Do they have a number that can be traced? I don't know. Maybe one of them found the only remaining payphone. I think there might be one at Tenerife North Airport. You can still put coins in it, old style, with a piece of cloth over your mouth as you speak anonymously to your mate in the Guardia Civil. Hola, we found the body. Yeah. Did that all happen on the Sunday? I don't know. But that'll do for this video, because I've laid the groundwork there. You can see where I'm going with it. Monday, yeah, the Dutch didn't hear or see helicopters because there weren't any. It all happened on the Sunday. What I haven't touched in this video is the whole DTR hearing the animal noises. Someone said, that could well be anything. And would he have heard animal noises in Masca from Juan Lopez? Yeah, he might have done, he might not have done. Is there a coincidence with the Euro final? Yeah, maybe, maybe not. But for this video, let me just throw it out there that what DTR heard and observed, and the coincidence with the Euros final, everyone distracted by that, that might be a factor, but it might not be. For the purposes of this video, I'm just kind of prodding you towards thinking maybe the cleanup crew got it all done on the Sunday, and the Euros final and the animal noises are nothing to do with it. But got to go down all the rabbit holes. There has to be a video coming up on, let's switch that. Let us assume for the sake of argument, the animal noises that DTR heard and the Euros final and the sound of helicopters on a Sunday night. Maybe that is also a scenario that makes sense. I will leave that for another video. So, hasta luego, adios, hasta la vista. See you next time. Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, place your bets. Just don't bet on Saturday. Okay, adios.